Good morning. Can you hear me? Please give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up. I would like to just be sure that everybody can hear me. Okay, I've got a signal that everybody can hear me. So good morning once again and welcome to this session. As you can see, this session is titled the Data Science Opportunity, and Gautam in his previous session has already touched upon a few things that we've been doing in this area, and I think Satya in his opening session has also talked about it. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to kind of try and demystify or explain to you how we are looking at this opportunity called data science. Many of you would have heard, I'm sure everybody would have heard and read about the advances which are being made in terms of machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence. And the big question is whether we as CL should get involved in it and in which ways. Now, most of you would be aware that we have been over the last couple of years using the machine learning technologies in CL for doing certain types of interesting analysis and work for our students. So you know that the percentile predictor that we used in MBA last year and this year has been improved by including machine learning techniques in them. We have also used it for various things like KYC processing, image recognition, and things like that. But today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of pause and help you understand what could be the potential impact of all these technologies on the training market, and that is the business that we are in, and in what ways should we respond to those changes. Okay, so let me start by referring to the World Economic Forum's Future of Work report, which was released just a few months back. And it was a very dramatic report. It was covered in every media in the world. And as you know, the WEF, which is held every year, is one of the most important events of the world, where they try to predict the economic trends, trends related to job opportunities, social changes, and they kind of give a view of what is to be expected in the next 4 or 5 years. So the 2018 report made a big statement, and they said that 85% of all respondents, and they kind of do this survey across the world with the largest companies employing tens of thousands of people across the world, whether it's in America, Europe, Asia, across the world. And one of the findings they presented is that 85% of the respondents said they are likely or very likely to use big data and analytics in their business. Okay, so that is one of the facts which came up, and which means that if you look at it in the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, you will see this intent getting converted into action. The another aspect of the report kind of highlighted 4 technological advances which would influence the work being done by these companies and the kind of jobs and the kind of investments being made. And we are all very familiar, but very clearly they said that mobile internet, and we know that we are going to move from 4G to 5G, which is going to be another revolutionary change as and when it unfolds. Artificial intelligence, adoption of big data analytics, and cloud technology. These are going to dominate the 2018 to 22 period. I want you at this point, this is a beautiful report. So I actually got a video on YouTube which captures, it's almost a 100-page report, and I would really urge you to download it. It's available on online and read it. But here is a 5-minute clip which kind of captures all the big trends which have been highlighted in the report. So I'll request my friends in the console room to play the video.
The labor market is changing faster than you may realize. Demographic changes and technological advancements could lead to the net loss of 5 million jobs by 2020, according to a report published by the World Economic Forum. In total, the report estimates that 7.1 million jobs could be lost, the majority of which will be white-collar, office, and administrative positions. The report, called The Future of Jobs, surveyed executives from more than 350 employers across 9 industries in 15 of the world's largest economies to come up with its predictions about how labor markets will evolve. While this job landscape is expected to undergo radical changes over the next few years, the report predicts that there will also be certain occupations that are in higher demand. In this video, you will come to know some of the job categories that are expected to see this growth. Note that this information is based on the World Economic Forum. 1. Data analysts will be in demand. According to the report, data analysts will become increasingly more important in all industries by 2020. Survey respondents said they expect to have a greater demand for data analysts because they will need help making sense of all the data generated by technological disruptions. 2. Computer and mathematical jobs will continue to get a boost. These jobs include computer programmers, software developers, information security analysts, and more in this realm. 3. Architects and engineering jobs will remain stable. During the next 4 years, the demand for those skilled in architecture and engineering will continue to increase. Specifically, the report states there will be growth for engineers focusing on biochemicals, nanotechnology, robotics, and materials. By 2020, 2 million jobs will be created worldwide that fall under computer, mathematical, architecture, and engineering-related fields. 4. More specialized salespeople will be needed. As technological advancements continue to disrupt industries, there will be a growing need for specialized salespeople who can explain the company's offerings to a wide range of clients. This includes businesses, governments, consumers, along with new leads the company has never worked with before. For example, as content is increasingly consumed on mobile, a digital media company would want to hire salespeople who are knowledgeable with the ins and outs of mobile advertising. 5. Senior managers will be needed in industries across the board to lead companies through periods of transformations. Industries ripe for disruption will also need a new type of senior manager to help these companies navigate the rough waters of change. Sectors that will need new senior managers include media, entertainment, and information industries. 6. Product designers aren't going anywhere. One of the top skills that will be in demand by 2020 is creativity, according to the report. This will occur because many jobs will be monotonous and automated, but creative jobs will still require a human being. One occupation said to increase is designers, specifically commercial and industrial designers. These are the people that design and develop products like cars, appliances, gadgets, and other manufactured goods. 7. Human resources and organizational development specialists will also be needed to help re-skill workers. While technological and socioeconomic changes will cause some jobs to disappear completely, there will also be a need for new jobs created and people needing to fill them. One way companies are planning to find the talent for these jobs is by training existing employees with the required skill sets. In fact, the report states 65% of respondents said they were investing in reskilling current employees today. Development specialists and human resource professionals will be needed not only for hiring in a competitive market, but also to help employees develop new skills. 8. Demand for regulatory and government relations experts will continue to increase as companies embrace new technologies. As companies adopt and develop emerging technologies, they will also be looking to hire those familiar with the navigation of legalities in these spaces. For example, as traditional automakers and tech companies develop driverless cars, they will hire people who understand the relevant laws and who can work with government regulators to ascertain the best way to implement these technologies. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to share your views in the comment section below.
Okay, good. I hope the video was useful in the sense of capturing a fairly large report into simple insights, and I suggest that you go back and watch this video again because there are many interesting learnings that we can get from a video like this, and more importantly would be to read the report in its entirety. These reports are written by extremely qualified people who study a lot of trends, and for all of us in business and in the business of people and training, I think it's very, very important to get this perspective in our own planning. So the big question is, what is going to be in demand and what is going to be in decline? I mean, the video already kind of highlighted some of these trends, but just to capture it once again for you, it is very clear that this whole area of analysis, data analysis and data science is going to dominate the next few years, okay? And whatever name you call it with, whether you call it AI, machine learning, data analysis, data science, cognitive sciences, etc., this is going to be a major point of focus. The report is also extremely insightful in saying that there will be a lot of jobs like legal jobs and organization development jobs and sales jobs which will take on new meanings. And one thing is very clear that I like the phrase which the narrator uses in this report when he says that these are going to be choppy, rough waters for us to navigate. And I really think when I reflect upon it on ourselves, the more I am personally learning about these technologies and understanding them a little better, I realize that a lot of these tools will become a part of our everyday life. And if I do not invest in myself in learning these tools, I will soon become irrelevant. And to give you a simple example, it's like if somebody is interviewing in your organization, you want to hire somebody in finance or sales or one of your faculties, and he says, sir, I can't handle PPT and PowerPoint and Excel. These things are not for me. Do you think you'll really hire this person? Answer is no. And that is exactly what is going to happen with these tools, and they will become the vocabulary of the future, and you will just find yourself completely marginalized if you are not actively talking these new tools and technologies. So moving ahead, I want to take example of one company which has kind of taken data and turned everything on its head, and that is Uber. And when you look at what Uber has done, they've taken a business of running a taxi service, which none of us in our right minds would have said that's a great startup opportunity. If 5 years out of college or 10 years out of college, if somebody had asked you, what do you want to do? And running a taxi service probably wouldn't have qualified as a great startup idea. But with the power of data, Uber has taken an idea as simple as running a taxi service and taken it to 84 countries, 858 cities, and I think my data is already dated. These numbers would have probably grown, fulfilling more than 40 million rides. And those engineers in Uber who are running this mammoth business have not even been to these 84 countries or 800 cities. They have taken data models and created efficiencies around those models and made it useful for me as a consumer to take a taxi which works beautifully for me, and for the taxi driver for him to earn money. And they have completely, sitting in one corner in San Francisco, they have revolutionized across the world the way a taxi service is being consumed. And that is the power of data and analytics. I would like to just show you on this slide, if you go to the Uber blog, they have a blog, and you kind of see the kind of things the research that they're doing. And if you just read the blog titles, you will feel completely lost. And I feel very lost when I look at it. I don't even understand 1% of the kind of work that they're doing. And I can imagine, most of us will have that feeling. And that is how quickly, technology is moving, and the whole process of data analytics is just kind of changing everything. So, I'm going to, just waiting for the slide to move. Yes. So I'm on the slide called the growth of data, and I just want to kind of take 5 minutes and explain how and what is the reason why this growth of data is happening. Up till 2005, it is said that the humankind had created 135 exabytes of data. Okay, and many of us might be hearing this term called exabytes for the first time today. What is an exabyte of data? I'm going to go to the next slide and explain what is an exabyte of data. Okay, all of us are very familiar with a kilobyte of data. If you write down in a Word document, you write down a page of content, that's about a kilobyte of data. Okay, if you take an entire book and put that into a document, it'll probably have a megabyte of data. They say that if you want to understand a gigabyte of data, that's, if the entire human genome is encoded and stored, that will be stored in a gigabyte of data. We are very familiar when we download movies, what is the range of a gigabyte of data. What is a terabyte of data? We are familiar with that. Nowadays we get terabyte disks. But they say that, if one human life is kind of recorded in HD video from the day of birth till the very last day, that will probably be stored in 1 terabyte of data. I move on from a terabyte of data to something called a petabyte of data. And a petabyte of data is approximately, the Amazon rainforest. They have about 500 billion trees. And if we kind of clear that entire forest and use it to save data, that will be a 1 petabyte of data. And if you take 1,000 such forests, 1,000 such forests as big as the Amazon forest, that becomes 1 exabyte of data. Okay, and the statistic I gave you on the previous slide is all the data created in the world from the time we've been storing data up till 2005 was about 135 exabyte of data. So now you get a sense of what is an exabyte of data. Question: if till 2005 we had created about 130 exabytes of data, how much data do we have today in 2018? And how much will we have in 2022? Will it be double of that? 10 times? 20 times? 50 times? Well, the answer is there on my next slide. And the way the data has been growing since 2005 is in 2010 about 1200, there's 1200 exabytes of data. 2015, 7,900 exabytes of data. And 2020, it is expected to be 40,000 exabytes of data. And that, you can see, is the reason why data is exploding in our world. And it is said that the next after exabyte is called a zettabyte. By 2025, we will go to 175,000 exabytes of data. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why data has become so important. Today, you carry your mobile phone in your pocket, and the entire day when you're pacing up and down, that mobile phone is collecting data about you. If you're having a Samsung phone, there will be a Samsung Health application which is measuring steps. Your GPS signal is picking up where you've been, and all this data is being stored. Billions and billions of people are generating data at a massive rate. and everything is getting stored today. Why is it getting stored? Because today storage has become very cheap. Computation has become extremely cheap, and it is possible to store all these pieces of data and then make sense of it. Till a few years back, when a student would write a mock in our exams, we would store data about which questions they've attempted, whether they got it right or wrong. And if you come into our database and take a look at it, you will find that from 2000 onwards till date, every student who has taken a test in our system, we have retained that data. Since last year, we started recording data of how much the cursor has moved on the screen every 10 seconds. So you can imagine that when a student takes a test for 3 hours, what is the volume of data he generates, and today we have the capacity to actually store this data. And tomorrow we will be able to use the best machine learning algorithms and tools to be able to really make sense of this data and create very powerful analytics, which is going to be useful for us as a business as well as for a student to improve his performance. That is what all the large AI-led companies into education are doing. Okay, so they're using every micro element of data that we have and creating fantastic analytics over it. So if that is relevant in our world today, you can imagine what's going to happen across healthcare, automobile industry, transportation, smart cities. Everything is getting transformed with the power of data. Okay, so moving ahead, just to show you, what are some of the trends which are going to be impacting India. I'm on this slide called AI in India, and the reports which they are saying is that in India, there will be billions and dollars of investment in the field of AI. Okay, and there are reports in NASSCOM. There are reports of Niti Aayog, which I'll just show you. And if you just read all of it, I don't want to kind of bore you to death with so much of data, but it is very clear that AI is on the rise. Okay, and every kind of analysis, every kind of survey, every kind of research which is being done, they are saying that the high-skilled jobs will be around this area of AI, machine learning, robotics, blockchain, cybersecurity, and all these kind of new technologies. Okay. On my next slide, I've captured a couple of anecdotal reports. I think Gautam also referred to these in his PPT, that we know that in the campuses, the kind of jobs which are coming in and what is actually available in the industry, they're not matching. So if I go to a top engineering campus today, if I really want to hire like 100 data science guys, I'll probably not be able to do it, not even in the top IITs. Okay. And they say that they have 50,000 plus data science jobs which are going to be vacant very soon. And as the growth of the IT industry is very closely linked to how the rest of the world operates, right? And these jobs kind of get outsourced to us. And very soon there's going to be a tremendous demand and a growing demand for AI machine learning professionals. Okay. So one of the studies which I've highlighted out here says 76% increase since 2017. This is news which is like almost 3 or 4 days old. The Niti Aayog has created a position paper on AI and what India is going to do about artificial intelligence. It's a very important paper. It explains actually the applications of AI in our country's context very well. I again suggest read the paper, download it. If you just Google Niti Aayog position paper on AI, you will be able to download it. And the Niti Aayog themselves make a lot of claims about or estimates about how much investment is going to go flow into this area. Okay, so it says that AI has the potential to add 1 trillion to India's economy by 2035. Probably it's going to be much earlier than that. Okay, so with all this background, I want to now take you into what we see very clearly in the trends in the jobs in the Indian industry. And my next slide talks about how TCS has offered double pay. Gautam referred to it, that fresh hires who know skills like big data analytics, computing, cloud computing, etc. Will get higher salaries. And at a fresher level, if somebody is offering double the salary than what you would normally pay, that's a big statement in itself. Okay, if TCS has already announced it, I assume that every other big IT company is going to do similar things. I've read reports about Infosys encouraging their employees for doing bridge programs and getting upgraded with these new age technologies. Okay. My next slide shows you some salary marks. In the data science salaries, you can see they're all in that 10 lakh to 25 lakh kind of ranges for various types of entry level to more experienced people. We know for a fact that, if you, as a fresher, if you kind of go through a data science program, your entry level salary is going to be something as close to 6 lakhs a year at least. And that's a huge jump for somebody who's just out of college and normally looking at a salary of, and I'm talking about a very average median college in the country, looking at a salary of maybe 4 lakhs, engineer, non-computer science, and then he does an analytics program and he moves on to a 6 lakh salary. Okay. I'm skipping the next couple of slides and I'm on this issue of, are we relevant, and is CL relevant? Are you relevant? Am I relevant in how the world is changing given all the background information that we've discussed? And what do we need to do to prepare for this world ahead of us? And one statistic which I'm showing right now on this reskilling page, this was one very pertinent statistic which was shown in the WEF report, and they said worldwide, completely, if you look at it worldwide, if you look at all the people who are working, okay, so that's the cumulative total of all the people who are working, 54% of the people will need to get retrained. That's a massive statistic. That means almost every person out of two, 1 out of 2, will come back and spend money and time on getting retrained. That is the volume of change which is predicted. And to give you a very simple example, there are a lot of data scientists, very, very senior people who say that the innovation of data science is almost comparable to the innovation of electricity. And you can imagine the period when there was almost no electricity in the world, and when the growth of electricity happened, how the entire industry and the entire job market, consumption patterns, everything dramatically changed. Is that going to be the kind of change which is going to happen in the next 4 or 5 years? Some people are saying yes. Okay. So when such a dramatic change happens, and it is also called exponential change technologies. These things like AI and ML, when they happen once in many years, but whenever they happen, they are like exponential changes. So that is the kind of opportunity of training and reskilling that is available to us as a training and education company. Okay, so this is a very, very important graphic in my opinion, and you can see that they have broken down the, some people have said, I need 1 month of training. Some people said I need 2 to 3 months of training, 3 to 6 months of training, and they've given you statistics of all of that. Okay, so with this in the background, a very important part, I want to announce that we have started the CL Data School. And on my next slide, you can see that, we have formally, if you go to careerlauncher.com and you go to our homepage, you will find a segment called CL Data School. And on the next slide, I can show you what it looks like. We are taking a view that machine learning is for everyone. Okay. And you need to become machine learning ready. Okay. When I say machine learning, it kind of implies all the related technologies and tools that we are talking about. So AI, machine learning, whether it's deep learning, cognitive sciences, you can use whatever terms. I use machine learning for, it is one of the most ubiquitous terms. It's used by everybody, well understood. And I'm saying that machine learning is for everyone. And CL has got into machine learning training. Okay. We have already announced 2 programs. Okay. One is machine learning for programmers, which is available for every engineering student, every BCom student, every BA student, almost every student you can think of. Why am I so confident that everybody can learn machine learning? we have looked at this very closely, okay? And in fact, we did one very wonderful experiment in CL just a month back when we put together about 30 of us. We went into the training room. Nobody knew programming in that room, okay? Apart from one or two guys from tech, nobody. And we took everybody through an 8-hour machine learning program. We made them solve machine learning programs by writing, invoking the machine learning libraries, looking at data, analyzing it, presenting it, and solving it. And everybody was able to do it, okay? Some people struggled a little bit more, but what I'm telling you is an experiment done over 8 hours. If I had the opportunity to teach everybody for 40 hours, it would have been done and dusted. They would have walked away with a placement in their hands, okay? So we have launched one very interesting program which we are trying to do, a machine learning retreat for CEO level people. And that is going to happen in January. We have announced the dates of January 18th and 19th. We are trying to take 15 or 20 CEOs and teach them machine learning. So while we are doing our various experiments with trying out new formats, we have taken the traditional approach. We are going to do machine learning in the classroom, okay? And we are going to launch this actually on Saturday. We have a seminar with 400 students in DTU, and we are going to announce machine learning program over there. It's a placement and an internship event, but we're going to talk about these programs. So we are hiring people. We are hiring people who will teach machine learning. We will learn ourselves, and we'll make sure everybody else learns. So that's this beautiful, opportunity in front of us. Moving ahead, we will also have a data analytics program for non-programmers, okay? It's a beautiful topic, and every commerce arts student, including a student who's just out of 12th, can actually learn this and be ready to join a job of a data analyst in a great company, okay? So the way this program is designed is that if you are already familiar with programming languages, you can go into a slightly different track. If you don't have familiarity with a programming language, you can go into the analytics track and then move on to the programming track. Programming languages, from the time we learned it, has become extremely simple, and to be able to take machine learning and solve problems, you just need rudimentary knowledge of programming languages. Today, every student who has passed class 12 will have that rudimentary knowledge. And so it is very easy for us to launch these programs. The next slide shows you the course structure. It's not very important, but just for your knowledge, we're going to be introducing data science. There's a lot of statistics that we'll be teaching. We'll be teaching them visualization of data, solving common machine learning problems of all types of algorithms, introducing to these new vocabularies like neural networks, natural language programming, and then basically getting them ready for industry. So that's the idea of this program. We will be focusing on a lot of hands-on projects. On the next slide, I've given you some kind of projects that we do. So there are very famous worldwide projects like, can I use machine learning to predict who all would have survived the Titanic disaster? And you can take the data which is now publicly available of all the people who traveled on the Titanic ship before it sank, and using predictive techniques, can I actually predict how many of them would have survived and compare it to the actual survivor list? It's a beautiful challenge to solve. Any of you can solve it if you spend half a day learning this and maybe a week or two kind of honing your skills. You can start competing in a worldwide competition to solve this problem, okay? That's how easy it can be, okay? So we'll be doing things like handwriting and face recognition, sentiment analysis, scanning social media and trying to understand whether a certain sentiment is prevailing. Elections around the corner, extremely good use cases to know what is the public sentiment vis-a-vis one political party or one brand or the other, okay? So these are the kind of hands-on projects we'll be doing. Moving ahead, why I think that CL will have an advantage. I think the way our course structure is designed, we are extremely hands-on. So students will come to your class with a laptop, okay? They will be aided by us, they will solve problems, and they will go back every day with theoretical and practical knowledge. The second thing that we are doing is we are talking to partner companies, and companies like Paytm, HDFC, they've all offered to take our interns, and we are going to offer internships to every student who enrolls for our programs. Okay, this program is likely to be initially at the launch period about a 50,000 rupee 12-week kind of a program, offered over weekends, about 72 hours of classes, and we're fairly confident that anybody who diligently goes through this program will be industry ready, whether you're a second year student, third year student, or a final year student, or a working professional who wants to get out of the job that you're in into something new and exciting like data science. Okay, we are going to help our students solve problems and benchmark themselves with a global audience, which is Kaggle. So a lot of our course design is using Kaggle problems. Kaggle is a worldwide platform now acquired by Google, which is basically a hub where data science people exchange problem solve and they compete against each other. Okay, and normally if you have a profile which says, I've got a rank of so and so in this Kaggle competition, it's a direct indicator of how good you are. Okay, and we are going to get those kind of remarks onto every student CV who studies with us. Okay, we are also trying to tie up with Amazon or Microsoft for certifications, and that will add a little bit more credibility to our program. So that's the CL advantage. My message to all of you who are watching this, get ready to deliver. Okay, and my strong belief is that each and every one who is watching this session right now can enable themselves to teach machine learning. You have to become a learner first. You have to learn it. There are many aspects of it. If you're not the very strong mathematical programming type, there are many other aspects which you can learn, and you can be a part of a team which is into teaching this exciting new technology. Okay, if you're a maths teacher, I think you're already a machine learning teacher. Okay, in our program, I've already listed down out here, we will be teaching things like probability and statistics, Bayes rule, random variables, distribution sampling, hypothesis testing, regression, decision analysis. Any of you who've done entry-level math, even as a part of a MBA program, you will find that these are concepts you already know, or with a little bit of a refresher, you can, you'll be right there. A small amount of programming skills, just so that you're able to invoke the machine learning libraries, and then you go deep into machine learning. You understand how we solve problems using machine learning. So you go into analytics theory, prescriptive analytics, descriptive analytics. These are all new terms, but extremely within our reach. They are very, very doable. Okay. So my invitation to all of you is to get ready to deliver, train yourself. We will be conducting, so in my next slide, which is the way forward, I'm very clear that it's easy for you to get certified. You can go online and get certified. We will be conducting our training programs. You can join them. You will get certified, and in a few months, you will be ready to go to your nearest engineering campus and teach them. You will teach them voice tech, Alexa kind of stuff, very easy to do. You will teach them machine learning, AI, data science, analytics, the whole suite of these new tools and technologies. So we have also said that, already for the PDP program, we have created a crash course of machine learning, which we are combining with PDP. And we are encouraging students to actually learn a new skill before they get into their interview stage. Okay. So we'll be introducing it in various other forms. So we'll be combining machine learning with our PDP. We'll be combining it with our finance programs, which you'll hear in the next session. Okay. It'll stand alone as a program in itself. So the way I look at it is, it's like the major minor concept in our undergrads. Okay. You could major in machine learning, you could minor in finance, you could minor in digital marketing. Or in our case, you would be coming in and trying to do an MBA, PDP kind of a major. If you look at it like a major, you could add a machine learning minor to it. So the combinations are all available. It depends on the kind of emphasis that one wants to give. Somebody wants to go heavily into machine learning, great. You want to do MBA as add-on prep, lovely. Or it could be the other way around, or it could be just one standing on its own. So we have beautiful opportunities in front of us. And I think all of us need to reinvent ourselves. We need to pick up books. We need to go back to college, We need to sweat it out and then create this wonderful opportunity in front of us. With that, I would like to conclude. Thank you very much. I would be very happy to look at any questions and answer them if there's anything. Otherwise, I'm available on WhatsApp, and of course, we will be meeting in the ABR very soon. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, please type it in and I would be very happy to answer. Okay, I don't see any new questions coming in, so I will sign off right now and leave it for Himanshu to announce the rest of the schedule. Thank you so much.